Hi, I'm Liz Cully, and welcome back to Cool, Cool, Cool. Each week, I give you a glimpse into what I think is cool and chat with a ton of people that are definitely cool. No topic is off bounds unless I guess it's not cool. Welcome to Cool, Cool, Cool. The time has come to announce officially on the podcast, we're having a baby. Yep. It's happening, folks. Can you believe it? I sometimes can't, but I really popped this week, so it's becoming a bit undeniable. Even for me, who lives just swimming up and down in the Denial River for most things. Oh, God, guys. Let me tell you, what a journey, what a ride. If you have been listening to the podcast for a while now, you'll know that I started this mini series within the show, I'm Scared to Have a Baby, almost 2 years ago, which is nuts. I really wanted to speak to people in my life and in my inner and outer circle about pregnancy, about IVF, about all the different ways that folks have kids these days, because really I have found, and more now than ever, like parent podcasts, mommy TikTokers, mommy bloggers, it's not for me. It's not. You know, when we got to, I don't know, like 10 or 12 weeks, Rachel was awesome, per usual, and ordered all these different books and downloaded all these different like parenting podcasts and audiobooks in my Spotify. And I tried. I really did. I promise you. I tried to listen to them and they were so whack, every single one of them. So I wanted to create content that as I was going through IVF, I could relate to, or that was helpful to me, because every time I would talk to somebody privately, they'd be like, oh, by the way, like, don't forget about the crenone you're going to have to shove up your vagina after the embryo is transferred. Or like, this is why they call it transfer and this is why they call it implantation, like, or they don't call it implantation. There's so many things that you don't know. And I still don't know anything. I feel like what I've realized in this entire experience, especially all the planning, all the researching, all the doctor's appointments, is we don't know shit. We don't know shit about having kids. I don't know anything about having kids. I don't even understand like where she is. Oh yeah, it's a girl. I didn't know. Big surprise. Yay. I don't know where she is. Like, I don't know where she's moving around, you know, how it all works. And maybe I'll never know. It's like they don't teach us the good stuff growing up. They need to teach us Excel. They need to teach us how to get the most money back from our taxes. They need to teach us what happens to you once you get pregnant. And they need to teach you like how to fix stuff around the house. Those are the things that we should be teaching kids, not like weird, you know, math and chemistry. Who the fuck uses chemistry? Nobody. Not a single person. Unless you're a chemist. And I guess technically a baker. But whatever. I digress. Yep, so it's a girl, which is very exciting. This is no tea, this is no shade. I know you're going to think that it is, and I'm telling you, I would say this to anybody's face, and I'm just going to say it now. For me, I think gender reveals are corny as hell. I don't believe in them. I don't subscribe to them. They're fucking stupid. If you want to decide to do that, good for you. Like, Go buy and I also don't believe in balloons. Balloons are terrible. And don't even get me started on Mylar balloons. Mylar balloons are horrible. They cause all the motherfucking fires. They cause all the power outages. I'm more against balloon. I'm almost as against balloons as I am against, I don't know, the laundry list, of things that I'm not into. I don't know, our entire bullshit government, ICE raids, Mylar balloons. They're terrible. Get them away from me. So I don't believe in balloons in the first place. But if you want to go buy pink and blue balloons or get a cake made that has a certain color inside of it, or like fucking shoot off a rocket of smoke, go for it. But I think they're fucking stupid. So that's not for me, and kudos to the people who decide not to know what they're having until the end. I mean, I know my mom tried to be like, no, yeah, like it's a better surprise. She's one of many. I've had many be, oh, what a surprise. The biggest surprise of your life. You know what I've learned in the last I don't want any more surprises. I'm good. I don't like surprises. I like to know what's going on. I barely even like to not know what I'm getting for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? So I don't need a surprise. I also don't subscribe to everything pink, purple, fucking unicorns for girls and blue and red for boys. Can show you pictures. We just painted the baby's room. It's blue with accents of red and coral, salmon. I don't care. A person could come in here and probably think that it's a boy's room. I like blue. Don't give a shit. You know what I mean? So, oh God, guys, there's just so many things. I was listening this week to an episode from last year with a psychic medium, Justine. I had Rachel listen to it, and of course, Rachel's like, I don't know. I don't believe any of this. This is intuitive. I don't know. She's using a lot of therapy term, whatever. Maybe she's not into it. However, I am into it. And there was stuff that we didn't include in that episode. A lot we did include. And one of which was you're not going to have a kid for 2 years. And I was like, what the fuck? And honestly, by the time I have the baby, will it be 2 years? Yeah, almost, I think. But the craziest thing is Justine and I talked at a different time, and this was not in the episode. But she and I were talking, and she wasn't wrong. IVF, I didn't love. I don't think anybody loves it, but hats off to the women that go through multiple rounds. You are queens. You are warriors. I don't know how you do it. I hated it. It was not great. It was also very hard to do while extremely stressed out at work. And don't even get me started about the embryo transfer aftercare. Dude, honestly, that might be fucking worse. Actually, it is worse because shoving a suppository in your vagina every day and then having to shoot yourself in the ass when your hormones are already raging out of control at a specific time every single night, and then on top of that take all these estrogen pills, blows. So I needed a little break after the retrieval, and the retrieval was fine. It wasn't listen, I was 38. We didn't get a ton of eggs. We got, you have to get the eggs and then see which ones last the cryoblast or whatever. See, look, I went through it and paid, stupid money. I basically bought an Audi A3 with a good interior package. And I can't even remember what happened, but we didn't get a ton of embryos. That's just what it was. And so there was a discussion of doing another round, but I was just like, dude, changing jobs, then turning 39, I needed a little bit of a break. So at some point I talked to Justine and I was like, when am I going to get pregnant, or like when and how? And I had a different timeline about when we were going to start the transfer process. But again, I didn't realize how long it was going to take. And then the LA fires happened. Like, truly, it was just a lot, right? And Justine said that I would be pregnant in March of 2025. And guess when I got pregnant? March 2025. I don't know. Say what you all want, but I believe. I'm a believer. I'm a believer. I'm a believer because I think there have been so many women who are mediums or witches, and I say witch in the best way possible because it is the best thing possible. And yeah, I don't know. I'm a fucking believer. So what can you say? And she was right about like everything. So I don't know. If you're a skeptic, that's fine. I don't believe in Jesus Christ. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, I believe in spirituality and energy and all those things. And you might believe in Jesus Christ and that some person made water into wine, which, if that were to be the case, wouldn't they continue to still do that? I don't know. Just thoughts that I have. So we can all believe different things. But, you know, first trimester was rough, real rough. In the sense that I was doing all that medication like I told you about. You're not really supposed to tell anyone, except I really was. I was like telling strangers and not friends. We'd be like at the post office. I'm like, I'm pregnant. They're like, what? I don't know. That was my way of sort of celebrating it and coping with my anxiety and some of the discomfort I was going through. It's so counterintuitive to not tell people in the beginning when you need the most help that you're pregnant. And then you have to wait until arguably you feel alive and better. I get it. And I also waited. I mean, I see people who announce at like 11, 12 weeks, and that's awesome. And that's your choice. And that's great. I just had a different circumstance with work, and I had like a really long period in between appointments, like between 12 and 17. And that 5 weeks felt really long. And I just wanted to make sure she was cool before I announced. And honestly, I could have waited yet another week because next week I have our 20-week anatomy scan, even though I'll be over 20 weeks, but whatever. Again, I don't understand the math. Somehow the math's not on my calculator. But it was rough in the sense that I was so tired, like really tired that I've never felt, like no matter how hungover I've ever been, or like pulled an all-nighter for work or for school or whatever. Like I've never been that tired. And on top of it, I felt like I was on a rocking ship, which is truly terrible and the worst feeling of all time. Like horrible. When we were in Italy last year, we were in Portofino and slow boating. It was amazing. We rented a boat and went out, and the guy was awesome who took us out, but he wasn't going fast. He was going really, really slow. And it was the first time, I think as an adult, I have ever gotten seasick. I'm really good on boats. I grew up on boats, and it was the same thing. Like I either needed to take a poop or throw up. And luckily in that case, it was the first, not the second. But guys, those first 3 months were rough. And you're quiet about it. You can't, tell people at work, like, I absolutely can't focus. I absolutely can't stay awake. Like, it was brutal. And luckily I had Rachel and I had friends around me that knew, because it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to not tell people you're pregnant when you need the most help. So, you know, I don't know. I, you know, it is what it is, I suppose. But, you know, it's funny. All, you know, people kind of, I think in hindsight are like, oh, it was the most in touch I felt with my body. And I, you know, learned things about myself in pregnancy I never knew before. I don't know if I have felt that yet. It's definitely an interesting thing to go through as somebody who's had horrible body dysmorphia and eating disorders their whole life. I'm like, oh man. But I do feel like I'm getting cuter with more of a belly, I think. I don't know. Dude, my boobs are so big. It's just nuts. The whole thing is nuts. But here we go, guys. Baby content coming. I haven't really decided also what I'm going to do with the show. If I'm going to maybe do one every other baby stuff, keep the baby stuff to Patreon. If you have any thoughts or feelings, DM me. If you're a Patreon subscriber, please message me there. I definitely have a lot of content that I created in the first couple months that I'll probably keep to Patreon. So just to thank those folks for their support. But again, in some ways I want to make content because I find the content so motherfucking cringe. Really cringe on the internet. And then the other parts of me is I want to be more private. I will say, interestingly enough, those first couple of months, I really felt protective of myself. I didn't really want to guest on other podcasts, especially if it was hard to schedule or like, I mean, again, my life has completely changed in the last 6 months. I have an incredibly long commute. I have a rigorous job. I just don't have a lot of time. And then to, on top of that, have absolutely no energy is crazy. And I'm married and I already have a child. Her name is Ravioli and she's my firstborn. So I have a lot already on my plate. You know what I mean? But it was funny. I was very protective. Like I didn't feel like talking about, you know, like Diddy or like, you know, like bullshit on air. I just didn't care. Primarily, I think, because I was fighting for my life. I asked this week if people had any specific questions for me. And it was a very funny experience because now some people certainly asked questions, which I thought was obvious, about the pregnancy, about me. Other people did not at all. In fact, they asked questions about themselves. So I'm going to answer a couple of questions that I got, I guess, about me. And then if I feel like it, I'll answer questions about other people. I did get a really, really interesting question, and I ended up taking it to DMs with someone that I definitely want to talk about. So I don't have segments on my show, but I guess this would be called Liz Decides to Ask Strangers from the Internet questions, and she regrets it every time. Okay, so first up is... what baby name do you despise? Here's the thing. I don't despise a particular name, but I despise a category of names. I despise, like, you know, naming a kid like Spirit or, you know, Sailor or like all that kind of shit. I think it's totally millennial, overdone ridiculousness. Like, imagine being in your 40s or 50s and addressing someone in a business environment as like, I have to be so careful because half my idiot friends named their children weird shit. I'm literally going through the names, you guys, and I'm like, oh no, shit, I know somebody named that name. I'll keep to Spirit. Like you're like, hi, I'm Spirit Cully. It's like, do we need that? Or like, I'm fucking Waterfall Cully. It's like, do we need that? Do we need like that kind of stuff? I don't know. Or like Huxley or Huntley or like all this shit. I'm like, just name somebody something quasi relatable, especially when they're white people. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like, oy. Like, I feel like we're just gonna have like a bunch of blonde boys and girls named just like the most like Brexley or like Britannia or what, like all this stupid shit. And I would say that's more of what I despise versus specific name. I think we saw something very similar in the 80s with the like Ashleys and the Britneys and the Kellys and all that kind of stuff. But the ridiculous like Braxton and like whatever names are just as bad, just different. Pregnancy's ups and downs so far. Well, this whole episode is essentially about that. I think the ups have been my biggest craving are peaches and ice cream. Not peach ice cream. I don't like fruit flavored ice cream unless it's a sherbet or a sorbet. Let's just be clear. But I want like nothing but peaches, and it's summertime in California, so they're mucho at my disposal, which I love. And I guess like pregnancy up, it's been really great to like have this time with Rachel. When people give a good reaction to us being pregnant, it's been really fun. Like one of our neighbors was just so ecstatic and was like tearing up. Our friend Sarah, who actually did the logo for this podcast, who's an amazing artist, she cried and it was very sweet. So it's like, that's been exciting. Pregnancy downs, I mean, constipation, heartburn, feeling like I'm gonna Ralph all the time, passing out on myself. I don't know, like my veins popping out everywhere, falling asleep in Hawaii and like jolting out of bed thinking my arm is dead out of extreme pain when it's like a nerve being pinched. I mean, all that kind of stuff has not been great. Like at all, existential crisis of like how I'm going to continue to maintain a commute and a job and clients and a friend group and fucking a podcast and a marriage and a dog and like a social, like all that shit. That's tough. What else? I didn't really get that many. When are you getting your ass to Pilates? Well, I went this morning, bitch. So leave me alone. Okay, hold on. Let's go to Patreon. I don't think I got many. You guys aren't really into the AMAs, which, you know what? Who am I? Like, who am I to pressure you guys into these things that you're not interested in? You know what I mean? Like, who am I? Obviously all the baby things. Yeah, I think I'm giving you the baby things, right? Okay, so let me get to the interesting DM that I got, because this is where I think we can have a really interesting conversation. So this is from someone, we ended up chatting, and it was, how do you get over the hump of fear? And if you only had a boy embryo, would you? Okay. All right, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. When I found out we didn't get a lot of embryos, I was stressed. It's not that I wouldn't want a boy. I would be happy with a boy. There are so many little boys out there in the world that are adorable. I also really resonated with me, Obama. I posted this recently, speaking about how we are not nurturing boys as well as we could be. And we haven't been. We've really, left them really from the structure of patriarchy and misogyny to be these like they're fine, they don't need hugs, they don't need to talk about their emotions, and it's backfired, right? Like look at what we have. We have a lot of young men angry, frustrated. I mean, just look at the pure numbers of violence, school shootings, arsonry, etc. It's not an overwhelming amount of women, and it's not an amount of men of color. It's white boys, right? White men. So we need to do better by young men. And I do believe that especially two women raising a boy is valuable. You know? I mean, also like Doi, who doesn't want two moms? I mean, hello. But I was like, damn, I really would love to have a girl. And I think a lot of that for me is like a healing thing. It's selfish. It's like I want to heal some wounds that I have. And also, I'm not going to lie, my Christmas parties put the fucking fear of death in me. Most of those boys are just adorable, and I love them, and I care about them. But there were a couple boys that really jump-started the drama at my house, and I don't know those boys very well, so it's different, right? And a lot of it comes down to parenting. It's not necessarily the boys. Boys are different. You see it. They have a different energy, but like girls are challenging in their own ways. Like I think, you know, I speak to mothers who have either both or a boy and a girl, or they have, you know, all boys or all girls or whatever. And I think the relationship is very unique. And it's really wonderful. And boys can be so, so sweet with their parents. And again, I think we need to do better by boys, right? And I have friends who are raising incredible young boys, including folks that were at my Christmas party. Like I said, there were a couple that were fucking off the charts, and then the other poor boys, you know, what are they going to do? They're going to fucking pick up the fruit too. Like, God bless them. But they're adorable, and they're so kind, and they're so funny, and they're so sweet. So if I had only had boy embryos, yes, of course, I would have done it. I don't think I would have kept trying for girls. I don't know. I mean, also from a financial situation, we weren't in that position to do that. So if I were you, yeah, I would try. I mean, that's the other scary thing, right? About with anything, with IVF or having a baby, naturally, or if you do turkey basting or whatever it is, IUI, it's not guaranteed. So I didn't know that my embryo would take regardless of gender. You know what I mean? You try to go for the healthiest one. So you just never know. And I would say, you know, do you want to be a parent or not? Also, I think we need really nice, good people raising young boys these days. I think that's really important. I think like Obama, who I'm developing a very intense crush on, by the way. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe it's pregnancy. But we need to do better by boys. And I think, like, obviously gender is a construct. So it's just whatever, you know, you're going to love your kid and it's going to be great. And you're going to be a great mom. You and I, if you're listening, we DM'd. You're going to be awesome. And it sounds like you have a really nice husband. And also, like, girl, you're a straight person. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you obviously are more chill with dudes than we are. So, like, I think you're good. Have that baby. It's going to be okay. You put your body through a lot. And he's here. I mean, it's an embryo, but just, you're okay. It's going to be all right. You know? I met a little boy the other day named Ezra, and he was so fucking cute. He's like 3. And I was like, this guy's great. You know what I mean? Also, like, girls are fucking crazy in high school. Like, I don't think it's that, it's all different, you know? And you never know. I've met a lot of asshole little girls, let me tell you. So again, I think it's parenting and I think it's love, and final answer is have the kid. Looking at these other questions and they have absolutely nothing to do with baby stuff. So I'm going to leave them for another time. And by another time, meaning I'm probably never going to answer them. So, and if I do, maybe I'll do it on my Patreon. It just doesn't make sense for me to do a hard pivot into like work or other things at this particular juncture. I really want to just say also thank you for all of the dedicated listeners. I really tried to make content the last 4 or 5 months. Some of them have been some of the biggest episodes I've done. I wanted to barf during all of them. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for your support. I definitely want to hear from you guys. So if you don't follow me on the internet, that would be really weird. But I'm Listen to Liz on like everything. And then on my Patreon, probably more private stuff, we'll continue there. There's 2 tiers. There's $6.99, $3.99, $6.99 gets you more. $3.99 helps me. It costs a lot of money to make content. I just went and did my taxes, and my tax person told me, or she asked me why I do this show, because it's definitely not bringing in any money. And I did it because I love it. So please make sure to support creators that you love, because while the internet is free, the content that goes on it is not. So that's all I have. Honestly, I need to take a nap, and I got to edit this podcast. So tune in next week. It'll be an interview. Yeah, I'm still scared to have a baby.